Hi, everyone. Welcome back to God's Whispers, a place where we take the time to pause and reflect on the word of the Lord. Happy first Sunday of Lent. And today I'm going to be focusing on the first reading from Genesis, chapter 2, verses 7 through 9, and then chapter 3, verses 1 through 7. It takes us back to the very beginning, to the garden. Let's listen. The Lord God formed man out of the clay of the ground and blew into his nostrils the breath of life. And so man became a living being. Then the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east and placed there the man whom he had formed. Out of the ground the Lord God made various trees grow that were delightful to look at and good for food, with the tree of life in the middle of the garden and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now the serpent was the most cunning of all of the animals that the Lord God had made. The serpent asked the woman, "Did God really tell you not to eat from any of the trees in the garden?" The woman answered the serpent, "We may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden. It is only about the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden that God said, 'You shall not eat it or even touch it, lest you die.'" But the serpent said to the woman, "You certainly will not die. No, God knows well that the moment you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like gods, who will know what is good and what is evil." The woman saw that the tree was good for food, pleasing to the eyes, and desirable for gaining wisdom. So she took some of its fruit and ate it, and she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made loincloths for themselves. Everything in that garden was there for what they needed. But then another voice entered the story. It was very subtle, questioning, a voice that made doubt sound reasonable. And then everything shifted. Genesis was written, from what I read, in the Near Eastern world, where many cultures had creation stories that were filled with conflict and chaos. This Genesis account shows that God created with intention. There was a world that began with harmony, and that humanity was given dignity and responsibility. The serpent's temptation isn't just about eating fruit. It represents humanity's first struggle with trusting God versus trusting our own understanding. And this story has been with us ever since. Whose voice will I trust today? Notice, too, that the temptation comes about really slowly. First was a question, then a distorted interpretation of what God meant. Then there was justifying, and then there was the action. That kind of is like what happens in our lives. It rarely arrives loudly. It seems unreasonable. Maybe it even seems wise at the time. But God's voice brings peace, not confusion, not pressure, not feelings of regret. So today, we have to just simply notice what voices are shaping our decisions. And we can only kind of focus and hear God if we are quiet and listen. God is inviting us back to trust Him. So things that we can reflect on are, where in my life do I feel pulled between God's wisdom and my own reasoning? And what does God's trustworthy voice sound like to me right now? And is there one small step of trust that I can make today? God is always ready to restore any doubt. I know that our hearts can be pulled in different directions. And if we quiet the voices that lead us away from God, then our strength will grow and our trust will be there. And then God will be able to help us choose the path that leads to life. I hope that this message was encouraging to you. And if you'd like to leave a comment or share it with a friend, that would be great. And don't forget to subscribe so you can continue to hear God's whispers.